Number one, I don't tell ghost stories out here anymore. I don't do it. I was scaring people away, which was not my intention. But I kept getting this from the back of the group. Can we still get on the graveyard tour? No, you're here. You're going in. But apparently it was scaring people. It wasn't my intention to do that. So all the ghost stuff that you're going to get inside. But suffice it to say that if you watch these ghost shows, whether it's Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures or Ghost Brothers or any of them are on TV, everything that happens on those shows, it's happening here. And then some. So that's what you're getting into. As far as your safety goes, you know, the building's old, but it's fine. You're not going to fall through the floor. Nothing's going to fall on you. Every doorway's got to step up. Just assume it does. It might be a little one, it might be a big one. But there's going to be a step up in every doorway. And use the hand railings on the stairs, right? But that just makes sense. It is going to be dark in there. I have 2 flashlights. If you really get freaked out, we've taken most of the overhead lighting out. So I would have to light it up with flashlights, but I can make that happen if we need to make that happen. You can while you're moving. What you're going to find is that we try to set a little bit of a mood in there. Again, I'm not trying to scare you, but there's a little bit of a mood going on. While you're walking in the hallways, if you need extra lights, you don't fall and die, use it. But when we get to a place where I'm going to talk, then try to shut those back off. And of course, you know, take pictures. Try pictures with video. Take video as well if you want. Sometimes I don't care. For some reason, bulldogs TV all the time. I don't know why. But my tours on YouTube. You're not going to embarrass me. You're going to get EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena. That's when something records that you didn't hear. But the compression that's required for it to play back through speakers allows you to hear it. And this is a jail, so they're all bad. It's all get out, go away, die, those kind of things. So we get a lot of EVPs here, so record the tour. Feel free to do that. I also want to be clear about your expectations here. You are probably not going to see a ghost. And here's why. Only 10% of ghost experiences are visual. You are more likely to feel one, smell one, hear one, even taste one. I don't wish that on you, by the way. But you get something in your mouth on a ghost tour, you're going to be rinsed with Listerine for a week. It's still more likely you ever seeing anything. Having said that, we live in 2017. And if something brushes up against your arm, you're not going to get a lot of likes on Snapchat or Instagram or anything or like that. You're not going to get it. You need a photo, right? You need a video of something happening. So good luck to you. But understand that's not the expectation tonight. You're more likely to have one of your other senses give you an issue. All right? We don't do a lot of history on the tour anymore. I got a history tour in the daytime. This is a ghost tour. It's the haunted jail tour. But here's your basic stuff. This is a jail from 1802 until 1939. During those years, it did not have running water, nor did it have electricity. In the 1802 period, it's just this building. This is 1802 here. The front section, where Jason is stationed, that's 1825. And when that was put on, they added the wall. Now, the wall looks weird today because it's low. But it was 20 feet tall all the way around. So wherever you see that low wall, there was a very tall wall. And then there's this octagonal addition on the back. That's from 1855. The only time the building is really overcrowded is during the Civil War. By the end of 1863, there are 1,000 Union POWs here. 400 inside, but then 600 out here in the jail yard just trying to survive. And to me, that's work. It's hot, it's cold, it's hot. You're not getting a lot of food. They weren't providing a lot of food. So you're trying to get food from passersby and firewood. You have to cook the food. They're digging their own latrines, which is fine until it rains. You may know Charleston floods a little bit. So when you get 6 inches of water out here in the jail yard, you're now living in that water that was your latrine. And I can top that. I can top the latrine. One of the guys that was here in the Civil War wrote in a letter that at night, when the moon was full and high in the sky, that the ground beneath his feet appeared to move because of the lice. They're mostly gone, if that makes you feel better. Yeah. One of the questions we get a lot is, did you execute people here at the building? We did. We sure did. We executed a lot of them. So the next question is always, well, how'd you do it? Yeah, let's talk about how we did it, standing where it happened. Come on. Here we go. Oh.
Ken, closer first. Oh, Jesus, thank you.
you're probably thinking hangings, and you're right and wrong at the same time. We've all seen hangings. The person is on a gallows or a cart or a barrel or a horse or whatever. The rope goes around their neck and goes up to something tall. And then whatever's below them is removed and they fall and they die. Except it looks great on TV, doesn't work that way in real life. There's a mathematical formula based on your weight as to how long the rope needs to be for the neck to snap. And most people didn't use it and didn't care. So what we got was strangulation. When you hang people that way, that's a good way to strangle them, not a good way to kill them. When they did hangings here at the jail, they would have 5 or 6 at a time. They're just shortening the day. That's all they did. But right here was something they called the jerker. There was a shed about this long and about this wide. Underneath one side of it, a 6'3" hole. I'm 6'3". That gives you good reference. Suspended above that hole, a 300-pound cylindrical iron weight. A rope comes from the top of that weight through the roof of the shed to the top of a pole, to a pulley, and around the neck of the condemned person standing over there. At the appropriate time, the handman walks into that shed and pulls a lever. The weight drops, taking that person and jerking them straight up off the ground. Your vertebrae separate up here, and you're going to die on the way up, 95% of the time. But you're going up with such force that you went past the end of the rope, and you came back down on a sharp snap, so the other 5% got died that way. Right here where we're standing, before we even go in the building, we executed 500 to 1,000 people, the records will right here, with no strangulations, not one. We did have a few beheadings. Your neck muscles are designed to do things like this, not keep the head on the straight up with pulls. So let's go right around the middle like I have, that head pops right off. Here's a funny story about hangings. There should be one, right? Early 1900s, the jailer walks over to Bouffane Street to the general store to try to get some rope for the hanging. And in the afternoon, after the hangings, he tried to return the rope. I've taken some stuff back to Walmart I probably shouldn't have. But I think receipt or no, once you kill somebody, that's your rope at that point. Yeah, receipt or no. Last person executed here in 1911. After that, they started using that in Columbia. The building closed in 1939. It was the police substation, then it was the housing authority. And then it was vacant for a while in the 1950s, and everybody thought it was going to fall down or get torn down at that time period. So the federal government has a program called the Historic Building Survey, and they documented everything about this building, and the survey's got this. And their estimate is that 10,000 people have died in that building. 10,000. People come on the tour and they go, why do you think it's haunted? 10,000 people, how can it not be haunted? It's like walking through ghost soup in there. In 1974, a forward-thinking, tourism-oriented entrepreneur opened up a museum in that building, and there was a problem with it. You know what it was? You guys weren't here yet. Nobody came to Charleston in 1974. It was very low on the tourism scale, so that didn't go very well. And then until about 9 months ago, since 2003, I guess, there was a school here called the American College of the Building Arts. Woodworking, stone carving, bricklaying, and iron-smithing. A great place to have a program like that. They moved to another historic building that they can work on and do stuff there too. But that's what you're going into. Stuff for sale. You want your own historic haunted building. It's only $2.5 million. I don't know what you do with it, but you're welcome to buy it. Yeah. Let me run this by you one more time before we go in, because I really want you to understand what you're getting into. This is the most haunted building you'll ever be in your life. Even if you do this stuff all the time, you've never been in a building like that. There's a lot of energy. Energy can affect you. All right, you might walk in and get a headache. You might get sad or angry. You might have trouble breathing. You might get nauseous. People pass out in there all the time, and not just in the heat of the summer. So be aware of these types of things. I don't want you falling over and hurting yourself. The last time it happened to me about 3 weeks ago, this woman, she was losing her mind. She, my husband, he was just melting down on the floor. And I knew it was the room we were in. As soon as we got him out in the hallway, boom, his eyes came open. But now he's on the floor looking at me going, I'm okay. You're in a puddle. I don't know what to do here. Let's get you out of the building, you know. But that kind of thing happens a lot in this. But be aware of it. I don't want you to fall down without telling somebody. We're going to hit your head or something like that. So be aware of it. My personal thing is I have trouble breathing in there. I've tried everything anyone's ever suggested. I pray. I have projected healing white light around my body. I carry protective gemstones in my pocket, and nothing's working. So I go in there, I deal with it. When I come out, it goes away, and that's my thing. So you're going to feel weird in there. Just accept it, but understand if you're starting to feel really bad, you need to tell somebody. Okay? Then there's one more thing. If this goes bad, if this goes way south, I want you to remember something. This is your idea. All right? Come on this way. Let's go do it if you want to do it.
And it's, I brushed up on my history about this, so it's true what he's saying. No, I'm not kidding. It's like the truest thing. But that's why
This is probably one of those things I don't want to put mom about.
I know. Yeah. No. But it's going up on my YouTube.
Oh, it is.
And plus, look. Guess when I was getting some readings too.
Yeah.
So I might get some more. Which is I'm gonna tell Patty. The G team.
Patty.
The G team.
G team.
On YouTube.
If you just make sure that door is closed, you're the last person, make sure it's pushed shut. Like a living room, and then sneaking up behind us. So, welcome to hell. I mean, that's how it's described by people who are here normally, people who are here during the Civil War. It is described as hell. So we'll spend some time here and see what happens. Don't forget that every doorway's got to step up. We're going in the first room on the left, and this one really hurts. So give that a wide berth. Come on this way.
That's terrible. He's got one too, I think.
What? Oh!
Come on, download.
Hey, I already got mine downloaded. I do this a lot.
Just stepping on that button.
Let's see.
So we're in the octagonal section, and these rooms are like butterfly wings. So if you take this room and you flip it that way, it's that way, you flip it that way, it's that way, and so flip it around. Normally 5 or 6 people in a room like this during the Civil War, 20 to 25. And that's what we've got here, about 20 people. I'm not even sure where 20 people would sleep on the floor. Not that I'm suggesting we do that, or that something bad's going to happen if we get locked in. But I'm not even sure there's enough room for that, and that's how prevalent it was. And you can picture the hand flooring, the buckets, and the rats, and the fleas, and the lice, and the roaches, and all that. What you can imagine, and probably because you don't have the experience, hopefully anyway, you can't imagine the smell. The smell would just be horrendous. We're talking about bodies having been washed in months, clothing having been washed in months. We're talking about hay on the floor, which has got some excess in it, you know, and then buckets. We're so used to indoor plumbing. They've got buckets, one for number 1, one for number 2, and one for water. Well, you just want to get wet in the big building. And let's hope the water's in the same bucket every time, or else we've got dysentery, maybe this whole thing will worse. But that's what we're talking about during the Civil War. That's how ugly it is in a room like this. Now, I do have to be honest with you. I feel guilty about bringing you in here without more setup outside, because as much as you probably think I did, we didn't really talk about the kind of stuff that happened to me. And I'm going to tell you a story I really rather not talk about, and that's the honest truth. This is what you're here for, it's what I get paid for, so we're going to go through it, whether I like it or not. I took 3 years off of doing this stuff. I used to do it all the time, 4 or 5 nights a week, 4 to 5 tours a night, all the time. It was great. Had a great time doing it. But I noticed I was becoming familiar to the things in here. And that's when they start going home with me and stuff like that. And that's not good. You don't want that to happen. You guys don't have to worry about it. I'm in here over and over again. And I thought that was going to be the problem. I thought I was going to take something home, or something was going to attach to me, and that's why I would stop doing the tour. But it was something completely different. 9 years ago, a 9:30 tour, 15 people, it's a corporate group, they're team building, I'll speak like that. And we're in this room talking, and there's a woman standing over there where you are, and she begins to cough. And I don't mean like I got a tickle in my throat, she's coughing like she's got a problem. So we start to work. You need some water, can we get you outside? What can we do for you? And she says like this, which is, I think, I got it. But that's not what she said. Instead of saying, I got it, or something like that, she began to speak in tongues. It's a biblical thing. You don't want to have it happen in the same room next to you. It's several languages at the same time, coming out at the same time. So now we're backing away from her, because I know what she's got, but I don't want it. And looking back, I feel guilty, because she was struggling to breathe. And it was a wet, raspy sound. You ever had bronchitis or pneumonia where your chest is wet? That's what it sounds like. And she was really struggling. And then she bent over, and we can hear her take this breath in. I mean, it's wet and disgusting. And as she comes up in a crucifix position. I'm not inferring anything, it's just what happened. And she hit that wall with her back. I mean, Stan hit it. And when she did, she exhaled very sharply from the impact, and then she was fine. 12 to 15 seconds, she had no memory of it. The rest of the group freaking out. I had to do a 10:30 tour. I tried to have it too. I did it from the hallway. You guys go check out that room. We'll talk about it later. And then I took 3 years off of doing the tour, and I simply did not come back in. And the only reason I came back in, a little bit vain, I wanted to be in Ghost Night. To be all honest though, I asked them if we could do the interview somewhere else. And they're like, no, we do it at the jail. Starbucks, the office, the car. Could we not go back in the building? And then of course they wanted to hear the story. I will do 2 nights a week now. I won't do 2 nights in a row. I'm just worried about stuff building up. Now what happened to that woman? We all know. We just don't want to say it out loud. She was possessed. And that's what it was. It wasn't deep. She wasn't chasing to an act. But something was inside of her trying to communicate with us. We weren't listening. But that's what possession is. Now don't think about it too hard. Because the first question is always, well, what was special about her? And the next question always is, well, why not me? That's the question you don't want to ask. Okay? Because it could be you. It could be anybody. Think there was anything special about her. But that's the crazy stuff that we talked about. We're in the first room. We got possessed already. It's just the kind of place it is. Now, thank you for not freaking out about the ropes. These ropes don't belong in this room, and I wish they weren't in here. But the problem is, where the ropes go, historically, it's too small a room for all of this to fit us in. So I'll show you that later on, but we'll talk about it now. There's no way to sugarcoat this. We torture people in this room. And not for information either. We torture people to keep other people in line. Imagine the violence in a place like this every day. If you're up here getting ready to kill everyone in the world, and you hear this screaming that goes up from downstairs, suddenly everybody calms down. Is it wrong? Yeah. Does it work? Yep, works great. This was a medieval torture device. Remember the medieval rack? I don't say remember what you got one in the basement. You've seen one, right? The stretching thing. This is that turned on its side. So your feet were strapped to the floor. Your hands went to the loops. And then there was a ratchet wheel. You know what I mean? Where you can turn it and it wouldn't spin open. So somebody is literally stretching you. And at first it feels good, right? We all like a nice stretch. Yeah, But then your muscles tear, and your ligaments tear, and your tendons tear, and your joints come out of socket, and then the screaming is the point. It works great. They call it the crane of pain. I know that's stupid, but that's what they call it. I will show you later on where it is. The problem is between now and there, there's so much horrible stuff to talk about. You will have forgotten about this. It's bad, isn't it? Question before we leave this room. It only gets worse. Come on, this one.
Nope. Wow. So cool.
Now you guys just do that, right? Come on in. And trust me on this, you don't want to flash as I talk. I've been doing this a long time. But this room, you're going to find me looking at that door. There's a shadow figure that walks by. You think it's a guard, probably? But he always walks from left to right. And we've seen them, but never captured them. I don't know if you realize how much homework you're going to have from this tour. The Ghost Brothers episode that was filmed here last October and aired this spring, if you haven't seen that show before, it's fantastic. They actually caught it going on the door on video. And it's great. They got it slowed up, and you can see the leg go out, the body, and they really follow it. It's fantastic. But I'm going to keep an eye on that. I always do as a talk. And I apologize for not, keeping as much eye on that. You can't tell me when it's dark in here. This room was the 1802 part of the building. But it didn't look like this in 1802. You would have had a wooden floor above. And instead of these cells or an open space, there were small rooms inside this larger room. So when you came in, you would see door. There were 12 of them, and those were the prison cells. And it's during this time period, early 1800s, before that front section that got around 1825, that we get our most famous ghost. And that has got to be Lavinia Fisher. If you've done ghost tours in Charleston before, you may have heard this story before. And if you have, I am going to disappoint you greatly. Because I tell the truth. God, I hate that embellished version. And embellishments have embellishments at this point. It's gotten out of control. So let's talk about Lavinia Fisher, how she became a ghost, and why she haunts this building. Lavinia and her husband John run an inn called the 6 Mile House. What's today Dorchester.